Welcome to the Parker Podcast Collection.
Welcome to the Not Watching Podcast. My name's Rob Howard, and this week I'm joined by
Ian Bruce and Marcus Hurley.
So, Luke Cage is the new Netflix show, following on from Daredevil seasons 1 and 2 and Jessica Jones. And this is a show all about Luke Cage, who actually had quite a big part in Jessica Jones. Yeah, it's kind of about what he did next. It's sequentially in the timeline. It's after season.
Is that where it is?
It's definitely after season 2 of Daredevil, because a certain character who's shown up in all of the shows so far was in the episode I last watched, and she said stuff that happened in Daredevil season 2. So it's definitely following through. It's definitely there, although it does flash back in episode 4. Spoiler. To kind of cover.
It's definitely after Jessica Jones as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Right.
So you get a little bit more of the context. So yeah, even if the show doesn't grab you straight away, I would definitely stick around until episode 4, because it gives a bit more context to who he is and where he's come from. Even though it's been hinted at before, but there's a lot of they want to set up this central conflict between him and Cottonmouth, who's played by another well-known actor, who's shown up in stuff like House of Cards. So Mike Coulter plays Luke Cage, and you've watched all of it, haven't you, Marcus? So
I have, indeed. I've got to say, once again, they've managed to create a Marvel show that's at a completely different pace to the other two. It's really weird.
Sure.
It's almost as if it almost feels a bit Tarantino-like, in that, you know, each time he does a film, the pace is slightly different in it. Well, lately they've been very similar, but Luke Cage is completely different. Well, you had Daredevil, which is very much the legal running around, you know, sort of smacking people in the face a lot. Jessica Jones, which had elements of, you know, quite dark storylines about control and all this other thing, and identity, and trying to figure out who she is and not giving a shit, and hints of the past, and hinted more into the whole super thing because she can half fly. And then you've got Luke Cage, which is at times felt like a Spike Lee movie, in which it was more about the people around him.
It's definitely about Harlem, isn't it?
Yeah, it's very centralized. I mean, there were so many references that went way over my head, because you knew it was all about that little area in New York. And I've never been there, don't know much about it.
It felt like The Wire with a superhero and without any cops.
Yeah, there's quite a lot of people from The Wire show up as well.
Yeah. Which isn't a bad thing. I'm really enjoying it.
Yeah.
They'll probably do with fewer N-words, to be honest. But
yes. Yeah. I've normally got an issue with that, but I think the problem is they're showing that this is still what's going on there.
Yeah. That's okay.
And it's you could sanitize it, but I think that was the whole part of it being a Netflix show.
Yes.
It's a bit gritty, and that's the gritty element. Whereas I quite liked his approach to it, where he'd, you know, tell people they're being disrespectful, and then
yeah. So that's
for doing that.
Yeah.
But there is a cameo in there later on that I don't know. You guys haven't finished it yet, have you?
I'm about to do number 4.
I'm about to do number 6.
Okay, I won't say anything. There's a cameo in there that just made me laugh, and then it carries on and carries on and carries on. Let's just say it represents Harlem quite nicely.
There's quite a lot of musical cameos. I think Method Man's in there and stuff.
There.
I don't really know that music very well, but it's it's damn good, some of it. A lot of the Harlem Palace, Harlem Paradise Club. I think a lot of the old soul singers and stuff are there. I mean, you've got, in the first episode or something, you've got a sort of Beyonce clone singing, crooning away. Yeah.
And then you've got various other soul and singers and stuff, and everyone else guesting in there. But you've got a very fairly recent-ish sort of man turn up in there.
Is Eminem in it?
No, it's not Eminem.
Okay.
It actually makes more sense than if Eminem turned up, because what the hell would Eminem be doing in Harlem?
Don't know. That's a whole
Brooklyn,
different podcast,
maybe,
isn't it?
but yeah.
I don't
But
know.
it just made sense, and it was quite funny. But it's one of those shows I kind of think I think there are a few too many episodes. If I hand on heart, I have to say, because I think it's 13 episodes long.
Yeah.
And I think they probably could have shaved it down to 10. Some of the things that you kind of feel could have been explored in a similar episode, and the pace of it, I quite enjoyed it. We watched all of it.
Yeah.
And at the end of it all, it was kind of like, okay, it's ended. It didn't feel like a grand finale. It felt more like the end of chapter 1. There's more to come. Or he'll show up in the Defenders or whatever.
Yeah, and that's, I have a question that I don't really know how to ask without the answer giving shit away.
Yeah.
Did it feel like it was setting it up for the Defenders? Because I don't think Jessica Jones did that, and I don't think Daredevil left season 2 like that.
It does feel like this is his start. This feels like a Luke Cage origin story with an origin story in it.
Okay.
It's more about, whereas his origins was about, I mean, there's loads of cameos, there's loads of little Easter eggs in there.
Right.
You obviously saw, no, you haven't seen, have you seen the bit where they do a flashback to his past?
My wife's seen episode 4, and that's in that, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's a nice little Easter egg in which because obviously the character looks different from the 70s version of it, because it's not set in the 70s, but there's a nice little nod to how he looked there as well and stuff.
Sweet
and various
Christmas.
bits and pieces. Yeah.
I did walk in and he looked like he was from the 70s. I don't know if
Yes,
that's
but
him
the way that they
specifically.
set it up is brilliant.
Yeah.
It's great. It's the way that they do it. I mean, he had like a weird circlet thing and stuff, and all this sort of bits.
I walked in at that bit and thought, he has got his uniform after all and stuff.
But they did it in a way that was like non-uniform uniform.
Yes.
But I thought that was really cool. But to be honest, I've got to say, even though it was very much a slow pace, it was definitely, I would say, the third out of the two. I'm not sure whether I enjoyed Daredevil or Jessica Jones more. I'm probably going to say Jessica Jones for me personally.
Yeah, Jess was that's been the best for me so
for
far.
maybe Jessica Jones, Daredevil, and Luke Cage. Even though I've put it third, I would not say it's awful. I wouldn't say it's bad by any stretch of imagination. I just found the pace a lot slower, and it was more like an enjoyable journey.
And I think there might be another Wire comparison there, because the Wire was the same kind of place, but to different people or from different sides.
Yeah.
And this is all a similar part of New York or that area, from different perspectives. And they just happen to be metahumans or superheroes, whatever you want to call them, depending on which legal team you've got, I guess.
It would be good to kind of revisit this, I think, once you guys have seen it. Probably
absolutely,
in a future podcast.
Yeah.
To get your thoughts. There's so many little bits and pieces, like, it does cross into the whole Jessica Jones world, and things are mentioned. Everyone mentions the incident because that's the big thing.
Yeah.
Because it's all centralised to New York.
There was a guy selling, I've got the best footage in the world, mate.
Yeah.
And like a street vendor. That was excellent. That was quite funny.
Well, it's the fact that everyone always says, the guy with a magic hammer and a big green monster. You kind of think it's just, because they
Just
saw that point blank.
Fucking say it.
The thing is, though,
exactly.
when they do bring up stuff like that, because these shows are so grounded in a kind of more gritty reality, I always think whenever anyone's going on about that, they're just fucking loony obsessed with movies or something. We live in a world now with a green monster and a man with a hammer. It's never going to be the same. It's like, well, stop watching all those Marvel movies then. Sorry. I'm being weird.
Yeah, I mean, it is. I did enjoy it. I got to say, I did enjoy it. I mean, I did feel as though I feel the finale could be more, but that might be because we're used to things being more,
bombastic,
explosive and exactly, and really pushing it in the finale, being, oh my god, it's amazing. It's like Game of Thrones, after that, everything must have a finale that we go, oh, geekgasm, but
so it didn't.
Whereas this kind of petered out nicely and set it up. I'm not sure if there will be a second series of it. I think if they leave it as it is, and its character joins the Defenders, and they do more, then it would still make sense.
Well, they are doing the Defenders, aren't they? That's the next thing they're doing.
No, I think Iron Fist is next.
But really? I think that's going to be a movie, isn't it?
No, it was going to be, but we're getting 13 episodes of it, I think.
Oh, wow.
And, yeah, it's coming out in March.
Although
they just dropped
you do
the trailer.
have a second series of Jessica Jones, so maybe that's where Luke Cage is destined.
I think it's Luke.
Oh, okay.
I think it's Iron Fist in March, and then this time next year we'll get Defenders. That's what I think.
Iron Fist is March 17th.
Unless they, or maybe they'll do a Jessica Jones in the summer. But I don't think we're getting another season of Daredevil. I think we are, but not until after. So I think this train's going to keep on rolling. So.
Defenders is 2017. Why is there a trailer?
There is a little trailer. It just says the date.
Okay.
It's one of those motion posters that they like to do.
Motion poster?
That's kind of what they call it.
That's the wankiest thing I've heard all week.
Yeah,
Jesus,
season 3 of Daredevil. Season 3 of Daredevil is 2018. So
it's like calling it static fluidity.
Yeah. Well, what does it say? Jessica Jones, season 2. When is that? Is that 2018 as well? Unknown.
Defenders is 2017.
Season 3 is unknown for Jessica Jones, but I'm sure we'll get it.
It'll be season 2, won't it?
Yeah, they've confirmed they will be, but
yeah.
Oh, hang on, maybe I read that wrong.
I think that will be this. I think that will be where Luke Cage is bound for, and it would make sense. It would make much more sense.
Oh, I'm sorry,
because all of the stuff that you see, little elements of him and little bits of his story in Jessica Jones, it kind of explains more of it in this.
Yeah.
As it goes through. But yeah.
Well, yeah.
Anyway.
No, 2017 for season 2. So next year. So we're going to get Iron Fist, Jessica Jones, and the Defenders next year.
Yeah, I have to. I know nothing about Iron Fist, but I'm already uncomfortable with what. I just don't want to watch it.
He's not German. It's okay.
No. That would be up to the elbow. That would be iron up to the elbow.
You don't have to be uncomfortable.
But no, the bit that a martial arts expert with the ability to call upon the power of the Iron Fist. Oh, I'm sorry, comic nerds, but that just makes me do a little bit of cringe.
I know.
Yeah.
I do hope
his outfit is bright yellow as well.
Yeah, but it won't be in this, though, will it?
I don't know.
I wouldn't have thought so.
This might be the cheese one. There hasn't been a cheesy one. They went borderline, but there hasn't been a full-on cheese one. I mean, Luke Cage is kind of like a blaxploitation 70s thing, but set now, so toned down a bit. But you still get elements of, you expect someone to turn up and call him Mac Daddy. But it didn't happen,
Yeah.
I half expected someone to pull out a gun and go, "You looking fly." But it just didn't happen.
Of the three of us, you're the one that can do that.
Right on. But the thing is, they play with stuff like that as well, because they obviously know their 70s roots, which is where the story came from. And I just love that they could get away with it. But yeah,
and I don't like blaxploitation necessarily, but I like that it's got that vibe.
Yes,
it's kind of a bit mocky, but it's also, we don't know.
Well,
we don't
the
know
music, the opening scene sets it up. It's got very much the whole sort of slap bass, almost 70s-esque sort of feel. And that's exactly what they're going for, Yeah. He's the man mountain. He's like the guy going out there. And they constantly refer to Shaft.
Yeah.
It's just brilliant.
Yeah.
Actually, you know what? I might be taking it a bit too seriously. I think it knows exactly what it's meant to do, and it just does it.
Yeah.
And it's not meant to be one. I mean, I think maybe the entire series is a metaphor for him. It's not meant to be this overly flashy sort of, like the Avengers, which we've come to expect. It's very contained, very
and that's why I like all of
very subtle.
He's not saving the world. He's just got a couple of people. Something's happened. He's a bit pissed off in the first 3 episodes, anyway. And he's, he's doing his own thing. Yeah. It's a bit like John Wick in that everything else is happening and he doesn't really care. And you could say the same for Jess and for Daredevil as well. That's, they're not out to save the world. They're just out to make their little bit of it better. And I think that's why I definitely prefer these to the goddamn Avengers. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think of all of these shows as kind of one thing. Just it is so connected, and it all, you know, it's all taking place in New York and stuff. And I had this trouble the other year when I was trying to decide whether Daredevil or Jessica Jones was my TV show of the year or something, and I just bung them in together. But no, I'll keep watching. I mean, it hasn't grabbed me as much as Daredevil or Jessica Jones did, but it's certainly, you could do a hell of a lot worse. And yeah, I've been enjoying it. You know, it's okay. It won't be in my top 5, I don't think, but I haven't seen it all yet, so yeah. I don't know. Cool. Okay. Moving on then. Though we all saw that, so I'll just hit something that I've been watching. Let's just get this out of the way.
Yeah, get it out of the way. Fuck's sake.
I watched the pilot for Designated Survivor, the new Kiefer Sutherland show. They've actually it's on CBS or NBC or is it Fox in the States?
Fox, I think.
Yeah,
it's Fox.
Yeah, Fox would make sense. 24 was on Fox. Anyway, yeah, it's on network in the States, but they're actually showing it on Netflix over here, like the day after, as it airs. So I watched the first one on my lunch break the other day, and yeah, I wasn't really impressed with it. It's a great idea. Essentially, we did talk about this on a previous show, but just as a refresher, basically, when all the heads of state in the US have a meeting together, there's a guy who...
There's only one head of state in the US, my friend.
Well, I mean, all the when the government meets, basically,
yes.
There's that they have one designated survivor. So if they all get blown up, there's at least one of them that can be sworn in as the new president. So that designated survivor is Jack Bauer. Is Kiefer Sutherland.
It's not Jack Bauer. He's not playing Jack Bauer.
No, he's not.
He kind of is.
Yeah. Well, he's...
yeah.
Yeah, so...
Is he playing Grumpy Kiefer?
Yeah, so Kiefer Sutherland is the guy who's like, oh shit, I'm now the president. And I guess the kind of conceit of the show, and why I think it's kind of won the critics over favourably, is that it's kind of the idea of what happens when you put like an everyman in the Oval Office, and what would he do?
Well, they should have done that instead of putting Kiefer Sutherland in the Oval Office.
Yeah.
Where everybody's going,
we all
Jack
know what
do?
he does.
Yeah, and that was kind of why I didn't really buy it, was because they spent a lot of time with his family, who I didn't give a fuck about.
And it was like it was like 24 with Brody's fucking family in it from Homeland.
Yeah.
I just don't care. I mean, the actors were fine. They're all good in their own right, but the stories were dull as fuck. Jesus, enough already. And as soon as the sun started blethering, I just had to switch off, to be honest. Because I'd read stuff about it, so I knew what was going to happen. Yeah. And I just didn't care.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and it was just like the way all of the characters seemed like these sort of caricatures that spoke in vagaries, like vagaries, what's the word? Vagisms.
Yes.
I don't know. It was all like, oh, you've got to do this, or, you know, this is important. We need to get the nukes ready, DEFCON 1 and all this.
Yes,
and,
they were just two-dimensional. They were absolutely... let's pick up the Things a General Would Say book and find on page 27 lists things he would say about nuclear weapons.
Yeah.
Maybe it's the script to Sharknado 5
I think it's what annoyed you about the new Bourne movie. Was that it was...
No, that was just shit. That had no redeeming bits at all. This was good until the opening credits, and then after that it went downhill.
Okay. Yeah, what else was annoying about it? That's kind of it, really. Yeah, I just was like... I think the problem is, after being spoilt by things like House of Cards, where you've got really cool, like, sort of presidential dilemmas, and, you know, everyone's talking in terms that I struggle to keep up with. It just seems so dumb. Like, I mean, it's really, really dumb.
Yes.
So,
and I wasn't helped by. I had many weeks off over the last couple of months, and I started watching The West Wing again. And while, my God, the fashions of the time were horrific.
Yeah.
At least it felt like they all worked in the White House instead of.
Sure.
Yeah, we've got this White House set left over from the West Wing that we've used for like other stuff. What can we? Well, Kiefer's not really doing anything now. Touch has fallen over. Let's throw him in the White House and see what we can come up with.
Yeah.
And it feels like it was written quickly to get Kiefer in a vehicle to fill the 24 blank until the next 24 comes along. Maybe it will pick up.
Maybe.
It's not, they haven't filmed all of it already. They're still making it, and they will. Maybe they will adapt to the feedback from the public, or maybe they won't.
Indeed. I generally find with most network shows, they do put their best foot forward. I've not known of one that got better than the pilot, in my experience. But then maybe that's because I didn't give them the time. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. But anyway, yeah, I won't be bothering with that. But you didn't mind the new Lethal Weapon show, right?
Yeah. Again, as we said last week for the Westworld thing, when I was been thinking about this today actually. When I watched the first movie, I was a young person, and I liked it because Mel Gibson was
Danny Glover
were throwing the bants around, and it was hilarious. Oh, he said what? He can't say that. And as a younger man, I liked the fact that there was banter and there was action and it was blah and stuff. And all this stuff that I kind of skimmed over because, yeah, whatever, I want to get to the actiony bits, like, spoiler, his wife and unborn son or child dying. That fucking hell, that really got me now as an older man. I was a bit of a blubbery mess, actually. And then that immediately made me compassionate to him.
This is in the show.
I really like Damon Wayans. Yeah, in the show. His character in the show.
Right.
And then I like Damon Wayans in The Last Boy Scout, which everybody hates as a Bruce Willis movie, but I really quite like it. It's the same kind of stuff.
That's
it's
Shane Black.
Cool, yeah.
Shane Black movie.
Yeah.
I like it.
And I like that. There's some classic Willisisms in that, but it seemed to be not just an action movie.
Yeah.
There was some other stuff going on. And I really like the first one. The pilot is basically the first movie in 42 minutes, which works. So there's a lot less fluff. There's a lot less banter, but there is banter. There's no exploding toilets. Was that the first one or the second one? That might be the second one.
Might be the second one.
Yeah.
But I was a bit dreading that the second episode would be the second movie, which, to my recollection, it isn't. Trying to remember the movie, so I'd give it a go. Unless you're a fan of MacGyver, which dropped in the US a few weeks back, and then obviously you wouldn't be listening to this because your big monkey hands can't work a PC, can they?
Did you watch MacGyver?
Did you?
A friend of mine watched the first 2 minutes, and then he just couldn't stop laughing at how horrific it was.
Oh, right.
So
Okay.
he stopped.
Was it worse than the Knight Rider remake?
He said the Knight Rider remake looked professional when compared to MacGyver.
Wow.
Yeah. So, but that's fair enough, you know. Reddit's saying there was a thing on Reddit on the television sub, which, if you're a fan of the Reddit and not on the television sub, there's some good shit there. One of the questions was, which of the full TV shows is most likely to be cancelled before the end of its run? And MacGyver was pretty close to the top of the list. But in its defence, a lot of people said that kind of dumb bullshit does pretty well on the networks because it's... I like Hawaii Five-0, the remake, but it's almost as dumb as that. No, it's dumber than that, actually. It's just, oh my God, why is he talking to the camera already? And here's my friend Dave, he's sitting in the car next to me, and we're going to do this. You can go and fuck yourself, really. No. You can't. The people that watch that must not have it HBO, because I don't really know how they balance up. That was a bit elitist and snobby. Sorry, people who watch MacGyver.
No. Maybe they crush beer cans on it.
Yeah. No.
No, I know what you mean. I mean, Hawaii Five-0 for me is a get in after being out, and it's on late at night, and then catch an episode and then maybe go to bed.
Yes. And they're mostly self-contained. I know in one of the last series they were after some dude in armour or some shit, but...
Yeah, it was weird. I know. Mark Dacascos turned up in it. That was a surprise. He was one of my sort of favourite, relatively unknown martial artist actors when I was sort of in college era.
Oh, okay.
And he was in the Crow TV series.
Yeah.
Pretty much as we disappeared for about 10 years. But
I like James Caan showing up. That was pretty funny. That was quite cool.
I've been watching a network show.
Have you?
Oh my god!
Yeah.
What have you been watching?
Another one, yeah. I've been catching up on. It's been on for it's on its third season at the moment. Just started. The Last Man on Earth, which is it's a Will Forte vehicle, I suppose. He's one of the guys from Saturday Night Live, and it's quite cool actually. I literally just watched an episode a minute ago, so I'm kind of halfway through season 2. Spoiler alert: he's not the last man on Earth.
Oh god, ruined.
Yeah, but basically, it's when I first heard about it, I was like, oh god, another apocalypse show, because the whole human race has been wiped out. And so he's the last man on Earth, and he's in a RV going from state to state trying to find someone else that's alive. And eventually he does come upon people. But what the show's about is, it's not so much about like how to rebuild society or whatever. It's actually more like it's more about that. I wouldn't fuck you if you were the last man on Earth. It's like he goes basically full caveman. Like he's sort of playing like bowling with Lamborghinis, driving them into like oil trucks and making big explosions everywhere. He's totally off the chain, but he sets up all these signs saying "Alive in Tucson." So eventually, like, he does bump into some people, and then it's kind of about how this man who's gone into full caveman mode can interact with human beings again, because he's just like a complete bastard. He really is. He's always doing like the worst things, saying the worst shit. He has an arrangement of like bowling balls and objects with faces drawn on them that he talks to. After watching that movie with Tom Hanks in Castaway, he's like, Wilson. What an idiot, who would do that? And then cut to the next scene and he's gone mad and he's doing it himself. He's got like a paddling pool that's just full of booze that he just sort of lands himself in occasionally when he's getting a bit bored. It's quite funny, but it's not like a canned laughter show. It's all like shot on location and looks really good. They're only 20-minute episodes, and it's not like laugh a minute, but there are some hilarious moments. And there was a moment towards the end of season 1 where I was like, God, he is such an arsehole. I just don't think I can be bothered to watch this anymore. But then it kind of dawned on me, like, that I realised that was what was genius about it, and so I carried on. And yeah, it's just quite nice to watch. The lead actress in it is Kristen Schaal, who I think was the Uber fan from Flight of the Conchords. She was like this really annoying girl that used to turn up and would like, she was like the groupie. And January Jones is in it from Mad Men.
Ooh.
And Mary Steenburgen, who I think is married to who's she married to?
Oh, quick to the Google.
Ted Danson, I think.
Really?
I think that's her. Yeah, she's married to Ted Danson. That's right.
Oh, she is.
And she's an older lady, but yeah, it's all like and there's a few other people turn up actually.
She's only 63. Jesus.
She's looking great for 63, I'll tell you. But yeah, a few other people show up. Oh, and I'm looking down the list, and spoiler alert. God, I'm spoiling it for myself. But yeah, this is executively produced by Lord and Miller, who did the Lego movie and are currently doing a Star Wars film about a young Han Solo. So it's very cool. It's definitely like cool sort of sense of humour to it.
Okay.
And it's just like, yeah, what's he going to do next, sort of thing. It's a bit cringy, but yeah, it's pretty good. It's just like a view of the world and people and how they would act in that situation, but not in a kind of we're all going to die and we're sick and like Walking Dead. It's more like, it's a bit more lighthearted than that. It's like, oh, can you fix the door? We've got no power. Stop shitting in the pool. It's that kind of
Yeah.
It's that sort of shit. But yeah, it's pretty good. And yeah, it's all on Prime Video, and season 3's airing in the States. So yeah, that's that.
Okay.
Any other TV?
It's mainly just been catching up with things. Like I've just finished Star Wars Rebels.
Oh,
I think
what?
I mentioned a few times before.
Oh,
I was kind of going through it.
Season
the
2?
Second series, yeah.
Cool, so you saw more
My
then.
God, if that was actually a live action thing, it would be amazing.
I know.
It's just ridiculous. Once you get past the idea that it's animated, you just think how this stuff would look in real life with the budgets and technology of The Force Awakens. Oh my God.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's a little bit goofy sometimes. I find like the Sith sabers that are like fucking helicopters.
Oh yeah,
they're a little bit gay.
Helicopter Sith sabers are a bit weird.
Yeah.
But Maul turned up.
Yeah, that's so well done, that bit.
So, and the thing is, it was hilarious. I watched it and I thought, oh my God, it's him. It's so cool. I just recognised him from you could just about see his markings and stuff. And
oh, he's so creepy though, isn't he? He's got like a little limp, and he's like, oh,
and he's
come
older
with me,
now,
child,
and he's like,
come with me.
Yeah, we'll defeat the Sith together.
Yeah.
And then afterwards, I realised, hang on, that's all entirely canon.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
So Darth Maul is alive and well in the Star Wars universe.
Yeah, I think in the Clone Wars that all happened. I never watched the Clone
but the
Wars.
Clone Wars was kind of before Disney bought it all, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So that could have been thrown away or just sort of pushed aside.
I think.
Whereas this is all made by Disney on the Disney Channel.
Yeah, I think the Clone Wars stuff was still included as canon. I think that's all fine.
That's true, because you do see he's got mechanical legs, actually.
Has he? Is that how they did it?
You could see by the knee joints, they're, it looks like padded, it looks like a form of armour, but you realise they're kind of like bolts of some sort. On the round parts of the knees.
Okay.
Anyway, yeah, that was my random little bit of TV.
No, that's cool. We'll do a big spoiler chat about the third season or something when that's done, man. Cool.
I've watched Zoo. Have we spoken about Zoo since I started watching it?
Yeah, it was on the episode I put out this week.
Yes.
But you hadn't seen it, and Marcus had, so go for it, mate.
Okay. Just quickly, really. Really enjoyed the first season. The end of the first season, and it's on one of the streaming services.
Yeah.
It felt like they'd been cancelled and they wanted to throw it all in the last episode. There was a TV series a while back called Surface, which had Lake Bell in it as the heroine, which was about this little creature identifying that the end of the world was going to come, and the seas would rise and it would be, ooh! And they spent all of the episodes except for the last one preparing for that and struggling and finding stuff out and all the rest of it. And then they got cancelled, and the last episode was, the seas are up. Yeah, there we go. And this kind of felt like that. The last episode especially, where it just felt really rushed, and they were just rushing to get everything that they'd been talking about for the last episodes all in one place and go, ta-da!
Yeah.
But I enjoyed it though. It's absolute hokum. My God, what bullshit! But
it's brilliant, isn't it?
I think I asked you about, do the animals look shite? But the animals look great. They look really, really good.
It was that opening scene where you see the lion on top of the when the two guys are taking a piss in the alley.
The raptor stuff through the corn or the field, wherever it was.
Did they borrow them off of what's his face who did Jungle Book? Jon Favreau. Did they borrow them off him?
That's a good question.
Took him for a test run. Who knows? Who knows? To be honest.
But the second season, oh boy, I'm struggling with the second season. Really struggling with it. It seems to have become a different show. As frequently these things do. When you get to the catalyst, the big event thing.
Yeah.
Everything you've liked about the characters beforehand, now it becomes a Walking Dead with animals, or it's much less than that. It's not the end of the world ish, but it's just become a bit convoluted. And the characters I enjoyed in the first season, I'm not seeing too much of them now, except in the most horrific intro where one of the cast members is saying, "Hi, my name's Dave, and I work with this girl. She's from the FBI, and this man." And he's
my God, really?
Oh, God, no. Why? What are you doing? Just do a previously on the Zoo bit. Don't do this.
Well, to be honest, you just need to show the end of the first series again, and that's enough of a...
Well, yeah.
I was actually watching that in slow motion thinking there is no way that they got out of that.
What?
There is absolutely no way short of Gandalf appearing.
Yes, and that's why it really felt like they just we've got a bit of money left that we'd say for the other episodes. Let's spooge it all on CG bits for this end thing.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
But this is the kind of network show, unlike MacGyver, where it's like Hawaii Five-0 or Castle or any of these kind of, you have it on in the background while you're making dinner or eating dinner. It's that kind. It's a family kind of show, I think. Was there any horrible gore? There was some fairly horrible gore in one of them, I think.
They toe the line, I think. They don't go outright as crazy as you think they would, but there is some bits.
I'm glad that you said give it a look.
Yeah, it's definitely worth a watch.
Worth it. Yeah.
Rob, I'd definitely say the first series is worth a watch. You can bin it after that if you want, but it's just the concept of it and just how they go about it. It's really quite fun and cool. It is extremely convoluted and now everybody from around the world is in the same place. Yes. It reminds me of the old Godzilla films, the Japanese ones.
Yeah, yeah.
The way that the characters go from one place to another.
Yes.
I half expected them to meet a Japanese man, and then they met a Japanese woman, and I went, oh my god, it's coming true. Is he going to be a giant mutated lizard on this island?
Yes, definitely. And that was all a bit weird. And the fact that they were setting it in all of these cities around the world, but in the back of the mind, you had to remember, Vancouver,
yes,
or wherever they'd shot it. They didn't go to all of these places, but I think they pulled it off. I think there was enough inserts of where they were to get away with it. So, it was okay.
It even went to Africa, Vancouver.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, that was it.
All right. I just wanted...
Sorry, no.
Go on.
Sorry.
Go on.
I also started rewatching True Detective.
Which one?
The best one, season 2.
Oh, okay.
I know everybody thinks season 1's the best one, but I just preferred the story to season 2. And I know season 2 is going to end how it's going to end, and it's not going to be dark and bleak and chasing the boogeyman around a warehouse, which is basically how season 1 ended.
True.
But yeah, it's good. As good. Glorious opening credits, forgotten about them. But they kind of reminded me of the Luke Cage ones, which was pretty cool. Yeah,
you got to have your pimp opening credits scene.
Yes,
definitely.
Yeah. That's it. Sorry, crack on.
Speaking of pimp credits,
here we go.
I've been watching the new series of Red Dwarf.
Wow.
I might have to stick that tune on at the end of this episode, actually.
Cold outside.
I haven't seen it yet. Yeah. I was actually looking forward to that. I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, I've been keeping on top of it, even like as because it was kind of in the 90s, the original run. They did like 8 episodes. Then they came back and did this sort of one-off thing for Sky, and I was lucky enough to actually go to the premiere.
Yeah, it's for Dave, wasn't it?
It was for Dave, I think.
No, the first one was Sky. Oh no, it was Dave. It was Dave, but it was only a one-off kind of or two-parter thing that had loads of CGI everywhere. Yeah, I was actually lucky enough to get to the premiere of that, and I met them all except Craig Charles. But that was very cool. Sorry, I just picked that name up from there.
Was that the one where they went full Blade Runner?
It was weird. It kind of, I can't really remember it, to be honest.
Where it was like this giant space squid, and then it went all the way back to this joke in like the second series or something like that, where Cat had this little fish, and he flushed it into space.
Oh.
And then it turned into this giant intergalactic space squid that came round.
Oh, I can't remember.
Oh god, yeah.
But anyway, yeah. So they did a proper 6-episode season a couple of years back, and they've done 2 more, and they've just started airing the first one. I think the next one's out next year. But they're really good. Honestly, they've had some absolute amazing jokes in there. They had one that was on a trailer I saw where Kryten's basically saying, I've just had to empty some of my memory to make room. I just had to get rid of all the most irrelevant things that I had in my brain. And then Rimmer goes, what was that then? And he's like, and you are? and then it just carries on from there. It's fucking brilliant.
Oh,
yeah.
And sold. I'm sold on that.
They've got like the last one I saw had like a mad little time travel bit where something to do with Lister's kidneys had gone missing, so they had to time travel back to his younger self to get them off him, and it's all that kind of mad shit, really. But yeah, I think it's on top form. You know that Kryten's torso may be a little more shapely these days, but
pushed in that costume, eh?
Yeah, definitely let it out
bastard.
a bit. But yeah, no,
it's driving around in cars doing carpool. That's what that is.
Yeah. No, they've got some cool little. They always used to have the little cool, like sort of outside exterior shots with all the space stuff. That's all in there. It looks really good for a what is essentially a fairly cheap TV show. But they've been to different time periods and stuff. So the first 3 episodes have aired on Dave, and you can just watch them on their website. They have adverts, unfortunately, halfway through, but it's all right.
I know we're trying to get on to next week's stuff, but speaking of Dave, there is a show called Taskmaster. Anybody watch this?
No.
Taskmaster.
So this is Greg Davis, where he sets a number of comedians a task, or a series of tasks over a number of episodes, and they have to do them, and he awards just random arbitrary points for shit. And the third season started this week. Third series started this week. And it is absolutely hilarious. If you're a fan of Greg Davis, worth a shot. That's
cool, yeah. We referenced him the other day, actually, for the other show he does, Man Down.
Yes.
Which is, I still need to check that out.
It's well worth a shot.
Cool. Yeah, Greg Davies for the win. This has been the Not Watching Podcast in partnership with notlistening.co.uk, where you can also hear myself and Ian talk about video games and virtual reality on the Not Playing Podcast, and Adam, Ash and Will talk about all manner of funny things on the Not Listening Podcast. The episodes are up now. You can email us at notwatchingpodcast@gmail.com, or you can tweet at or follow us on Twitter at notwatchingpod. You can find the show notes for this show at notlistening.co.uk, and if you're listening to us on iTunes, then please do give us a review. Anyway, that's all for now. Thanks for listening. See ya!
Can I just find the trailer for Cube? For Cube, not The Cube. That's a TV series, I think.
Yeah. That's what I thought you meant initially. I was like, did you watch The Cube? I was thinking,
unfortunately,
no.
I think that's what.
Yeah, I saw the link you put. I think I might have seen it on. I don't know. I don't know if it was on Netflix at one point.
It might have been. Yeah, it might have been. But there's been a couple of sequels as well, and they're worth a look. But they do expand that universe and goes a bit shit. But worth a look.
When you were talking about Zoo, what reminded me was of Grimm.
Yeah,
Grimm started off really great. The idea of Munro and all that being the big bad wolf, and you had the pigs and all these other bits and pieces and the ice beaver. And now it's just gotten so weird.
Are you still watching it though?
Yeah, I am.
Right.
Weirdly.
Can't drag yourself away.
I know. I need to know what happens.
That's fair enough. That's absolutely fair enough.
It's like watching the Blues Brothers car crash in slow motion. Yep. Each and every vehicle I must watch.
Yes.
Slowly piling into another. But it's just, come on. I mean, to a point where we always end up watching it whilst we're having dinner. Just like literally sofa or whatever.
Yeah.
Suze loves it as well. It's our cheesy show. Probably our cheesiest show that we watch. And we're both just slagging off Nick Burkhart. Just like the entire time we're going, God, he's so shit. What happened to his zombie powers? What the hell? But we just can't stop watching it. It's the epitome of, it's Ari Stenders.
And that's fair enough.
Yeah,
that's absolutely
it's better than
enough.
EastEnders. So
yeah.
At least it has weird animals and death.
Also, there's a new series of Celebrity Juice if you like your mindless fucking misogyny.
Mindless.
I do like Celebrity
I believe
Juice.
they have a genre for that.
No, I think it's hilarious. That nice Holly Willoughby.
I've seen one or two of them, but
it's not highbrow. It's not
Keith
even
Lemon.
lowbrow. It's just
it's monobrow.
it's ginger monobrow. That's how terrible it is.
Wow.
Yeah.